Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the G2X training for this week. Just got back from vacation late last night, so I'm a little bit trying to get my bearings. Went through my 80,000 emails. I feel like I'm kind of getting caught up. I have to say, Lake District of England and Lisbon, 10 stars, definitely recommend. I saw the attendee list for today, and so I saw a couple of my favorite people signed up. I hope that you are here and that you are coming. I look forward to this, and we want this to be a little bit interactive, so please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. And Marianne is here. If you have any problems, please feel free to hit her up, and she will take care of you to make sure that, if you suddenly get disconnected or, whatever else you're looking for, she can definitely help in that regard. If you have any questions, don't put them in the Q&A box, put them in the chat, and Marianne will be monitoring that, and she'll make sure that we get them answered. Okay. Thank you so much, Julie. Appreciate you. Thank you for holding down the fort. Doing a great job with that. Appreciate the opportunity to go out on vacation, and I couldn't do it without the amazing team that we have at G2X. So, alrighty. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. So what you are looking at here, hopefully, no, is that the right screen I'm sharing? Am I sharing? Does everybody see the G2X homepage?
Yes, indeed.
All right, fantastic, excellent, wonderful. So what you're looking at here is the G2X homepage. You're going to know it's the home because it is highlighted over here. You have a couple of toolbars to play with. You've got the one over here on the left, and then some folks don't realize that you also have one going across the top. Very common for software these days, very SaaS-like. The first thing I like to point out is that you do have your profile, and if you need to change your settings, change your password, or if you are an account admin, you can actually go in here to this section and add folks to your account. I know that Julie and her team gets a lot of requests for like, hey, add this person, remove this person. But if you are an account manager, you can also do that here in the profile section. Add your photo and start to, fill it out a little bit, add your LinkedIn link as well, so that way folks can find you by your company and then connect to you there. We're actually building this out to be a pretty fun sort of community tool. And that's one of the things that we are building out currently. Also, you can go dark mode, light mode. We have a fun time playing with this. I know some folks really love to work in dark mode. I get it. I think it's easier on your eyes. Also, if you wanted to play around with your settings, you can go there, and this is actually my profile here. These other two are very, very important, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about this. The first one is the little bell. This is where you can edit your saved searches. So, setting up a saved search is pretty easy, but then some folks are like, oh, how do I edit that? So come in here, you can edit the name of it here, you can run the search, and if you do hit the edit name, it'll pop up here and you can go ahead and do it that way. And then of course the bookmark is if you wanted to save anything on the site that you want to find later. When you open it, then you've got a little bookmark here that you can save, and it will live here. And I think it's kind of like building out your own little spot. And one day in the future, you will be able to build out a little bit of widgets on your homepage and have like build little projects and stuff. So kind of like the very, very beginnings of all of that. So let me go back to the homepage and walk you guys through our events database. So Ace Alamo, that did not come out right. Ace Alamo. Yeah, this is a big one, and this is a good example of us tracking a few of different kinds of events. The very, very large events like Ace Alamo. Sometimes Julie, who's on the call, actually puts together these awesome reports that will tell you where the happy hours are, which booths to visit, who's speaking, where you need to be, who you need to see, and it's really great. She does it for hymns, she does it for D-hits, and I think those are the only two, although we're talking about in 2025, expanding it out to maybe 6 events, and Ace Alamo being one of them for 2025. We also track the industries events. So for example, HHS ACF is having a business collaboration summit. So you can kind of see that. DIA is having one as well. This is a system that we don't actually filter out by platform. You're going to see that the rest of our data is kind of filtered by platform here. So, but the events, we kind of keep it open. So, you can find defense events, you can find other industry events in here, and it's probably the most robust database of events in our industry. So it's a really great way of staying up to date on where you need to be and who you need to be talking to. And I think the holy grail of this is really understanding where your customers are going to be speaking and then showing up for those events and talking to them and then making sure they know who you are and you understand their pain points, and then integrating those into your solution, and basically using events as really a jumping off point to your whole BD life cycle. That's just the Alexa thing. That's what I would do. So another uncommon way to use this whole system here is to plan your events for 2025 here by, like, for example, you wanted to have a happy hour on this week of the 20th of January 2025, and you want to just make sure that there weren't a whole lot of other events going on that week. So you can search and find out that there are 3 events going on that week, but this one's in Chicago, this is in Orlando, and this one's virtual. So if you wanted to have a happy hour that week, that looks like a pretty good week to do it, right? And so you never want to actually put an event on the calendar that coincides with another big GovCon event, and it happens a lot. So please use this to dedupe your events, and then everybody will be happy. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let me pop into the search field over here. You're gonna see the system telling you, hey, create a safe search. And we're gonna do that in just a second, but before we hop over there, I wanna talk about the G2 exclusives. So this is content that we write for you, kind of canned content that's telling you like, hey, these are recompetes that you wanna know about and have in your pipeline. So, we get a lot of questions like, well, how do I build a pipeline? I'm gonna tell you, come in here, and you're gonna see we have opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and you can figure out who's the incumbent, like when is this coming up for recompete, who else might be a good teaming partner, and why would they be a good teaming partner? Because of which past performance that they have, who are the good points of contact. These reports in here are not just for DHS, but we have them for USDA. We have a whole BPA recompete report for USDA because they're notorious for putting out BPAs and nobody knows when are they coming up for recompete. So we did a whole report around just that. And you can kind of see where they are here. We did a few different reports on that because it was just such a large topic. So these are really great reports that you can kind of download and use them to build your pipelines, right? Get in front of those opportunities. And I know that right now is a really good time to be doing some of that work. So one thing that I wanted to note is that you have your tags, agencies, categories, and platforms. This is pretty useful as you kind of drill down into different areas. So if you were really focused on CMS, and yeah, I'm still in the G2 exclusives. Let me get out of the G2 exclusives. We've only done one report on CMS so far. But if you are interested in CMS as a whole and you wanted to hit close here, and you're only interested in finding some teaming partners that are winning work at CMS, all I did was hit CMS, and categories, I selected awards. Why? Because that's who CMS is buying from, right? Hopefully that makes sense. You can also do it by, all right, well, which new folks are moving into CMS type of roles, whether it's on the industry side or on the government side. And trust me, if you're looking to talk to a GS 13 or a 14 or a 15, the only time you're going to get on the calendar is pretty much the first 2 weeks of a new job, probably. That's true, like the higher the steps are, right? Or at the SES level. So we do track, those are the folks that we do track as they move around in the government. And you will note that you can track them through here on the industry moves and the opportunities. Of course, that's pretty easy. And then, one of the questions I get the most is, well, where does G2X track their opportunities from? We used to track a lot of stars 3, vets 2, put it all out there until GSA got pretty serious about folks not doing that. So now we're tracking all of the OTAs, we're tracking challenges, we're tracking all of the SIBRs and STTRs and those kind of opportunities, as well as anything coming out of SAM. And I was just looking at a UX, user experience opportunity coming out of a naval system that's not SAM, although it is cross-posted on SAM, it's not SAM. So we are tracking those kinds of opportunities, and we just added in all of the forecast opportunities as well. So whether that's the GSA forecast that's been aggregated, or it is like industry specific forecasts like USAID or DHS, we are pulling those as well, and you're going to see those in the daily take, which I'll talk more about in just a minute. So while we're here, we did CMS and awards because you're looking for teaming partners. I think that's what I already mentioned. So as you kind of added those two filters, then you can hit this save search button, and it's going to say, it's going to give you some kind of a title, right? So I did see an email the other day where somebody got this save search in their email, and they thought it was us sending them incorrect data for their incorrect date, right? So remember, if you name your saved search this is what it will be titled when it gets sent to your email inbox. So it will look like this date hanging out there, and you're going to be a little confused. So I always change this and say CMS teaming partners. Cannot type. And then you're going to see that it is actually filtering against the two things you searched for. Hit create, and then it's going to take you over here. So then you can see up here that this was the one that we saved. And then I will come back here, and then let's actually pop back in there and just run that search again. So we're going to run the search, and it's going to be popping up with the same information. So hopefully that all makes sense. And I'm going to jump into one of these task order awards so you can kind of see the sorts of data that we track. This is for Index Analytics. They have a very, very nice CMS portfolio, if you know anything about it. One of the things I wanted to point out is that we have added a link directly into the company profiles. Company profiles is a little bit new for G2X. We have been in business for 10 years. And for most of those 10 years, we were pretty much a newsletter business. The last couple of years, we've really grown outside of the newsletter and have been starting to provide a lot of market intelligence, competitive intel, recompete reports, and really trying to create that one pane of glass where folks can go to find everything that they might need to grow their business, or to find a teaming partner, or to find a vendor to award a contract to. Yes, a third of our readers are the government themselves. So that's good to know and keep in mind as I start to explain a little bit more about our company profiles. So I'm going to go from here. This looks like something that you're probably used to seeing. And as I had mentioned, you can like it, you can save it, you can share it. You're not going to have that because I could go in there and edit it. But if we pop over here into the company profiles, Index Analytics is a bigger company with a very nice, like I had mentioned, CMS portfolio. And coming over here, you can see the highlights over here on the side. They're minority owned, small disadvantaged business. 8 people on G2X. I'm gonna talk about that in just a second. Their lifetime contract value is 269 million. And that does include their subcontract data as well, which is now exposed. So one thing I wanted to say about the company profile is it is open. This system is open. So this is an actual claimed profile because Index Analytics is a customer of G2X. So you can see your own company profile in here, and we've had a lot of folks get confused. Like if you are registered in SAM, you have a company profile. It is actually a mirror onto your SAM system. And it's a little bit cross-filtered with your USA spending data. So all of that aggregated into one place here to make it easy for government and other companies to find good teaming partners and good partners in general. So that was really the whole intent here. And as we come on down, you can see a tree graph down here. As I mentioned, they had a good CMS portfolio. Wow, it kind of looks like pretty much that's all the work that they do. A little bit of FDA, a little bit of CDC. And then as you come on down, you can kind of see all of their awards. You can jump into any of this data, and this data will lead you directly to USA spending, which is our source of truth. If we pop over into subcontract data, this is actually being exposed, I think, in an easy to digest way for the first time ever. So at just a very quick glance, you can see they are a subcontract to GDIT and Relay Group, or I think some people use the name Rely, also has a nice CMS portfolio. CGI Federal, so you can really get a feel for who they've partnered with in the past and That's a really nice recompete intel, actually. So at this point, I've been doing a lot of talking, 15 minutes worth. I will pause to see if there are any questions before I move on to the rest of G2X.
I don't see
Marianne,
any.
no questions? All
Nope.
right, you guys are making this easy for me today. You guys are taking it easy on me because I just got back from vacation, right? I knew it. Okay, so let me pop back up here because I said I will continue talking about the people on G2X. We do have a people directory, as you can see from over here. And if we click into the people in G2X from Index Analytics, you can pop in here and take a look and see. And then if you wanted to grab any one of these folks and take a look at who they are, you can jump in there and see. Most folks don't know yet that they need to complete their profile in G2X, which is why it was the first thing I mentioned. Because you know, if you did complete your personal profile, then there would be a little bit more about your role and your LinkedIn profile and all of that kind of stuff. So it does make it quite nice. So the people directory is here, and you can also kind of scroll through here and see a lot of folks, and you will see government folks here as well, as I had mentioned. All right, I think I'm getting to the point where I'm going to move on to talk about other things. So if anybody has any questions about G2X from in a nutshell, I can talk more about it. But if you don't have any questions, I'm going to talk about GovAIQ for a second. So GovAIQ is a tool that we purchased back in May. And when you first sign up for it, when you first hit that button, and it is included in your G2X membership if you have a corporate membership. So if you do, and you click the button, you pop in here to verify your G2X subscription, it will log you into our G2X tool. And what that tool is it is a proposal co-pilot tool. So it's going to ask you to give it a name and then upload a document. And then it's going to say, which documents do you want me to read? One thing about all AI tools is that you don't want it to try to read. I'm talking about proposal tools. I don't know, like ChatGPT is pretty fancy. You could probably upload a spreadsheet there, but to these, proposal support tools, I wouldn't upload spreadsheets to them because they get a little confused when they're reading between different kinds of documents. So upload PDFs, upload, Word documents, and then this GovAIQ will actually write like a generic response or like an outline, getting you from 0 to an outline pretty quickly. I mean, it takes like 15 minutes to do it, but that's that tool right there. And we are in the process of redoing that entire tool. Right now, it's sort of in a beta, which is why we didn't charge for it and just included it. Also, is in line with our Lumen tool, which I will show you. Here we are at the G2X homepage. So if you are here at g2x.com and you just hit a /, right? And you go to sam.gov, and I was looking at this particular opportunity here. I'm extremely interested in acquisition systems, especially as they pertain to IT. And this one is HHS, and it's Prism, which is a whole world in and of itself. So if you just copy and paste the actual SAM link up here at the top, Control C, you come over here to the G2X homepage. Remember, I had already mentioned that you put a / here, and then copy that SAM link and hit enter. It's going to start our Lumen tool. And Lumen is a tool that will read your solicitations and answer questions for you. So now that we're here, we're saying the Q&A, the sources sought questions. Now we're going to leave that out because that's just like the document itself, and the sources sought documents. So we're going to tell it to read those, and you can see that it is already ready on the first one. That was pretty fast. But while that's working, let me tell you that when I do this, I like to kind of take a look up here at the top. It'll tell you when it's due. It'll tell you there's no set aside. And to be honest, every time I see a sources sought with a set aside already on it, I'm always like, the whole point of an RFI, the whole point of market research is to figure out if you're going to use a set aside, right? So now that we're here, I do love to open the insights and just read pretty quickly what the government is looking for. And then coming on down, you can kind of see exactly the history, the attachments, you can kind of get a little bit more information and insights. And then you can start to ask a question. What is the government looking for? And then, yeah, so penitentiary specifically, they're looking for capabilities for AI, RPA, cool. Super fancy. So this just gave you in like 10 seconds what, would have taken somebody time to read. What were some of the question highlights? So instead of reading through, pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of soup amendments and questions and answers, imagine you asked Lumen and Lumen will tell you. So you didn't have to go back and read every single one of the questions and answers. So this, I just asked it for a summary of the Q&A and it just rolled it up here for me. Basically saying that Jacobs Technology is the incumbent, which I find super fascinating for a lot of reasons. And yeah, pretty cool. Yep. So this is Lumen and this is free. So Lumen doesn't require G2X membership. It is open and you can use it anytime. So please do. And I hope you love it. Going back to the G2X homepage, we've also launched our blog and you can see that we have announced our 2025 event guide. And this is basically your calendar of events for the entire year. So you can see that we have mapped everything out, telling you where you need to be. So, we have ELC in 2025, we've got World Congress in Texas, you've got HIMSS, you've got your events that you really can't miss. And of course, all of our events there also. So we hope that you join us. Forum is a sister company to G2X, and we do a lot with Forum, and we have a packed schedule for 2025. So this isn't our only blog post. There's a few up here as well. We've got the mentor protege program, and then redoing your teaming agreements, and then of course, personal branding for government contractors. These are our blog posts so far. Hopefully you think we're doing a good job with it. It's been taking some time to build them, and it's been a lot of fun. So I have a couple more minutes. I will open it for any Q&A. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to, I will stop sharing so I can pay attention, and I will come over here and see if anybody has any questions. Okay, no questions on anything? No. Okay, well, if we don't have any questions, then I'm going to continue to keep talking for a few minutes. So let me just go back into the G2X homepage. And I was going to say that one thing I wanted to point out is that we have 3 different verticals, as I had mentioned, and under the daily take, folks are kind of wondering, like, what is the daily take? If you're not familiar, I'll just explain it. So as I had mentioned, our first, I would say 8 years being in business, we built out this super awesome newsletter that would hit your inbox in the early morning. And while you're drinking coffee, you would read every single day who the big awards were, what opportunities were coming, what events are out there, what industry moves should you care about. So that way you have situational awareness going into your entire day. So when you're taking a look at the daily take, you can see that we've actually curated, this is curated with a human, and we're providing all of that information, and the categories are in the order of what I had kind of mentioned. And when you're reading the newsletter, they're also in that order. So you don't really have to be a paying member of G2X to get this newsletter. But then of course, if you wanted to click in and read anything in it, then you're going to hit a paywall. So eventually you're going to want to become a G2X member. But the Daily Take team curates this data with humans every single day for all 3 verticals. And it is really helpful, especially if you were headed to an event and you're seeing some of your VA folks running around, and they're gonna, you've got this information here and you can be like, where did you get it? It's an opportunity, got it on sam.gov, and so you can kind of see everything in here, and this is just like one example, but it's a lot of information coming at you every single day. And one of the things that I was just talking about on a call right before this was like, it doesn't matter what tool you use, as long as you actually use it, right? So the daily take is helpful because you get it, and that it is like the launch into the platform where you can then do your follow-ups and your planning and your long-term, pipeline building and your capture research and all of those parts and pieces. So, okay, if we don't have any more questions, then I will end it there. I hope you all have a wonderful day and I look forward to seeing you on the platform.